Welcome Classic Rock fans to a brief video where we discuss Grant Moon's latest tome, which is a history of Big Big Train, rather wittily titled Between the Lines, History of a Rock Band. I must admit I thoroughly enjoyed reading this book and learning about this band. And Grant Moon kind of fluctuates between, quite skillfully as well, between detached and objective journalism, yet writes in a way that is involving enough for us readers to become immersed in this band's narrative, which, in the words of Grant Moon, is rich, ongoing, and still worth the telling. And this book traces this band's origins from the South Coast to various different incarnations, to eventually merging as a rather geeky Big Big Train. Also explores the tensions between Greg Sporton and Andy Poole, and all the stories of all the passengers that have boarded and alighted on their way to this specific juncture. And of course culminating in the tragic death of David Longdon. And structurally it's a rather interesting book, as it seems to be organised chronologically. Does the whole sort of David Copperfield thing in terms of this band I Am Born, and follows the band's progress, the current day of all these little histories spreading out like branch lines. Now, which surprises me, because the tendency with autobiography writing or books of this type is to throw the reader a nice big juicy bone at the very beginning to ensnare the casual browser, get them to part with their cash, or make them want to read on, as in the case with the Mark Kelly book, which I reviewed on this channel. And this book is organised, interesting, it's well thought out and measured in its approach. As I said, it has this chronological structure. Maybe it's written in a way that appeals to the demographic, whatever that is, that wants to read about Big Big Train, rather than your casual book snoop in Waterstones. And this book employs a lot of photographs that have been excavated from the band's own albums and dungeons, where questionable sweaters and mullets are on display. Nice to know that this band, before assuming the mantle of prog gods, were just like the rest of us, fallible and whatever. But this book is intriguing, engaging, with a few interesting stops on the way. I know way too many railway metaphors, but it thunders along gathering steam as we go covering such seismic junctures like the release of English Electric, of course, both volumes, and the wonderful folklore to the band's most recent offerings. Also twists and turns and an intriguing amount of detail. Grant Moon himself says in the preface, or not preface, author's notes at the beginning, at the risk of dropping a spoiler, our story originally concluded as Gregory Sport and David Longdon raised a glass together at Real World Studio, with the Common Ground sessions drawing to a successful close, and thoughts turning to their own next chapter. There were exciting opportunities coming their way in the live arena, with a palpable sense that Big Big Train were about to take things to the next level, a recurring theme within these pages, as you will see. So it seems to me this book was written ready to go when, of course, the tragic news of David Longdon's death became known. I suppose causing this shudder where everything just stopped for that moment of disbelief. And of course his death is touched upon in this book. If you're a fan of Big Big Train, you're going to love this book. If you're a casual listener, you're going to love this book. You know, whether you're a fanboy or someone who just tentatively dips their toe into the murky pond that is neo-prog or 1980s prog, you're generally going to love this book, I think. I generally have loved reading about not only the band in the wider context, but also the individual journeys of each band member, and what has influenced them, their taste in music or their introduction to music. For example, regarding Andy Poole buying Yes's Close to the Edge. I went home, dropped the needle, and the new violin swiftly fell in love. I'd never heard anything like it before. I was completely blown away by it, totally captivated. From there he was hooked on progressive music. I must admit I've learnt an awful lot about this band from reading this book, which wasn't difficult really, as I don't know a huge amount about them, not being a cagouled supporter from the get-go, but nevertheless I found the story intriguing, compelling and well written. Well done, Grant Moon. If this is your first book, I doff my prog cap to you. Anyway, thank you for watching this review. Do go out and buy this book. There will be a link downstairs. Other than that, I hope you are well, staying safe, COVID free and all that business, and most of all that you just keep listening.